I have an unpopular opinion to share today. And I also have that to share today, brought to you by Mother Nature. Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Kristen. I'm a mom of two. I am also a teacher. I specialize in working with children who have behavioral challenges. We're talking about kids on the spectrum. We're talking about kids with ADHD. We're also just talking about toddlers and teenagers in general because they tend to have a lot of behavioral challenges. I adore teaching middle school. Yes, you would not be the first person to tell me that I am completely out of my mind. My unpopular opinion today is that counting is gentle parenting. Me. That's one. Me. That's two. If you continue to whine, I'm not going to play with you right now. Me. That's three. And then I get up and walk away. If you take that situation in complete isolation, you may look at that and go, Kristen, no, that's not gentle parenting. You haven't taught the child anything. In reality, there has been a lot that has gone on before that counting moment, and there will be a lot that goes on after that counting moment. Counting is when you take a behavior like whining, yelling, pushing, arguing, talking when you shouldn't be talking, interrupting when you shouldn't be interrupting, and then you count that behavior so it stops immediately. You would not count a behavior like do your homework. That's one, because doing your homework takes much more than 1 second to complete. Imagine being free from yelling, from spanking, from negotiating, from bargaining with your child, and you simply hold up a number one. And that number one tells your child to stop the behavior. That is why the program is called 1, 2, 3 Magic, because it feels like magic. I have been using this program for a very long time. It is an oldie but a goodie. And not only do I use 1, 2, 3 Magic, but I also use techniques from books like Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline, and this book, and this book, and this book. Because when we have so many tools in our toolbox, we can get better results depending on our child's temperament. What works for your first child might not work for your second child, or it might not work for you and the stage of parenting that you're at, your other obligations and priorities, etc. How I incorporate these programs into my life is like this. Counting is reserved for conflict. During a time of conflict, I count. Then, following that counting, once everyone's out of their brainstem, including me if I get overly emotional in the situation because I'm human too, once we're all out of our brainstems, we can discuss what happened. We can tell the story of what happened and why I counted. And then, more importantly, we can learn alternatives for that behavior. Counting is caring. It gives them an opportunity to alter their behavior, that we're not going to provide a consequence the first time. We're going to remind them, oh, that's one, and then provide the alternative. So it's not coming from a place of power. It's not coming from a place of you're in trouble. It's a gentle reminder of these are stop behaviors. You're exhibiting one of them, and that's not okay. Here's something else you can do instead. And if you don't do that something else, you will have a consequence to match. My consequences, I truly try to avoid the traditional consequences of timeout or writing what you did wrong, because timeout and writing what you did wrong doesn't necessarily match what's happening. If you decide to incorporate counting into your gentle parenting, I highly encourage you to be strict with the counting. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and then the consequence. No 2.5, no, I'm going to say 3, because then it becomes a threat and you go back to what you're trying to avoid, which is negotiating and bargaining. You want to be able to have a set of rituals and rules and routines in your house that your kids can follow. And if you have an older child, they can most certainly be a part of the creation. You can, instead of saying that's one, that's two, that's three, you can say strike one, strike two, strike three, like sports. You can even create a poster board for a visual to write down and draw pictures with what stop behaviors are and what will be counted in the home. Once our children become a part of the creation, they tend to follow it more, so that could be very helpful. My last piece of advice is to hang in there. If you incorporate counting, it will most likely get harder before it gets easier, and you will find yourself getting to 3 over and over and over again, probably multiple times a day, especially if you have a young child. Getting them to regulate their system so that they think before they act. So when I say that's 1, my child now halts, stops, thinks about it, and then decides whether they're going to continue to do the behavior and reach 2 and then 3, or they are going to do the alternative because they know that if I get to 3, what's going to happen? And remember, as always, that practice makes progress. I started a role-playing series recently this week, and I'm going to continue it, and you will see in this role-play series that I will incorporate 1, 2, 3 magic. So I wanted to get this video out of the way so that everyone would understand why I'm counting in these videos and why I find it extremely important to be a part of my parenting toolbox. Thank you for being a part of this one, and I'll see you next time.